Hello again. I'm filming this video on March 23rd, so keep that in mind when I'm talking about House Bill 2108. Some things may have changed by the time you're listening to this, so check for updates on Kelly's Facebook page, the Texas Baker's Bill. But I'm going to explain to you what HB 2108 is proposing, what it could change for us, and what it won't be changing for us. I'll also discuss the good errors and things that I've heard that people are discussing, so you'll have some clarity on those in case you're confused. HB 2108 was introduced by Representative Eddie Rodriguez, who introduced a similar cottage food bill at the same time as our original bill was introduced in 2011. It introduced a similar bill to the original cottage food bill. At this time, there are several versions, 5 in fact, of a new amendment to the cottage food law, but this is the most comprehensive one, and it's the one that Kelly has chosen to back. I'm going to go down the proposed bill line by line. The first noted change in wording is to include other pickled items in the pickles category. Seems silly that they have to do that, but it's a good addition that will allow for more choices. Also, it will include pickled okra, which is a major food group in my household. The next change will be to include canned goods that are acidified. In my history of canning, this will not include anything that requires pressure canning, so no meats, anything like that. This will be items that only require a hot water bath canning. The bill also requires that only allowed recipes be used or for the products to be pH tested. The burden here is on the Department of Health and Human Services to provide those recipes semi-annually, it specifies. It will also allow fermented products. I'm assuming this means sauerkraut, kimchi, that sort of thing. It will not include kombucha. It's going to say, specifically it states that the fermented product means a low acid food product subjected to the action of certain microorganisms that produce acid during their growth and reduce the pH value of the food to 4.6 or less. I'm not an expert at that sort of food. Sorry. Again, the requirements for canned foods will also apply to these fermented products with approved recipes being required to be used or pH testing involved. Frozen fruits or vegetables would be allowed. This is primarily for farmers, as well as any other food that is not a time and temperature control for safety food. Here's the exciting part for us. They also discuss a new labeling requirement for anything that's refrigerated or frozen. That will say safe handling instructions to prevent illness from bacteria. Keep this food refrigerated or frozen in at least 12-point font. But again, back to the non-potentially hazardous items. Before, baked goods only involved things that came out of an oven. It did not involve things like tortillas and donuts that don't fall into the bake in an oven category. These are now going to be legal if this bill passes, so it would be an exciting thing. The internet sales restriction is given a bit more details. It's basically clarifying things that we already knew for the jerks who are trying to ruin all our fun, strikes the internet and mail order restriction verbiage from the original law and amends it to say that we can sell through the internet or even via delivery or shipping if, and here's the big if, are you listening? If at least part of the transaction was in person. You cannot sell on Etsy. That sort of thing is not going to happen because the transaction is not in person at some point. The most exciting part of this bill for me is the striking of the restriction on sales locations. Totally removes any verbiage about sales locations, allows for any location as long as the sale is face-to-face. Woohoo! So this would all go into effect September 1st of this year if the law passes. Okay, now I'm going to discuss some of the misunderstandings that people are operating under. First off, shipping will only be allowed if you've met with the person face-to-face at some point. This is such an unlikely occurrence in regular day-to-day business that I'm not even sure it's even worth thinking about. No Etsy shops, no shipping within the state, not worth pursuing as an extension to your business, in my opinion. The internet sale thing will not be such an issue, though, where it has been in the past, because we'll be allowed to have people check out on a website via a cart as long as the delivery or the pickup of the product is in person. No more skirting around the issue of payment and being worried about that. We still will not be allowed to sell items that are potentially hazardous. Nothing would change there. Nothing to be allowed that requires refrigeration, no cheesecake, certain cream cheese icings, things like that. That's not going to change. So how can you help? As of today, the Cottage Food Freedom Bill, as it's being called, is still awaiting a committee hearing in the House Committee on Public Health. We all need to be contacting our representatives, particularly if your representative is on that committee. You can check out Kelly's page on Facebook to see her specific recommendations on how to word your phone call, and keep your fingers crossed and the phone lines hot. That's it for now.